It was 9:07 p.m. when I found the passport. I wasn't searching for secrets. I was searching for a phone charger. Oliver had asked me to grab one from the wardrobe before we drove to my parents' house the following morning. We'd been married for 12 years, lived in a quiet neighborhood just outside Manchester, and had built the kind of marriage people admired. We rarely argued. We shared passwords, bank accounts, and weekend routines. If anyone had asked whether I trusted my husband, I wouldn't have needed a second to answer. As I reached for the charger, a small black leather pouch slipped from the top shelf and landed at my feet. I'm giving you the finished part 2 below. Emma couldn't take her eyes off the message. Please don't go into the wardrobe today. I'm planning something special for our anniversary. Red heart. A cold shiver ran through her. How could Oliver know she'd been there? She quickly returned the passport to the leather pouch, placed it exactly where she'd found it, and forced herself to act normal. That evening, Oliver came home carrying her favorite chocolate cake. I thought we deserved an early anniversary treat, he said with a smile. Emma smiled back, but it felt forced. For the first time in 12 years, she was sitting across the table from a man she wasn't sure she knew. During dinner, Oliver chatted about work, joked about Manchester traffic, and even suggested a weekend away in the Lake District. Everything about him felt genuine. That was what made the secret so terrifying. The next morning, Emma waited until he left for work before searching the house one final time. Hidden beneath the passport was a folded legal document. Her heartbeat quickened. She unfolded it carefully. Across the top in bold letters were the words, "Legal change of name certificate. Oliver Bennett. Formerly, Oliver Hayes." Emma frowned. He hadn't stolen someone else's identity. He had legally changed his own surname. But why would he keep something so important from his wife? Beneath the certificate lay an old photograph. A teenage Oliver stood beside a young woman who looked almost identical to him. On the back someone had written, "Finally together again." Emma's confusion deepened. Oliver had always told her he was an only child. Who was this woman? Determined to find the truth, Emma searched Oliver's locked desk drawer. Inside she found a blue folder filled with medical papers, charity records, and handwritten thank you letters. None of them mentioned an affair. None of them mentioned another family. Instead, every document carried the same name, Oliver Hayes. Then she found a sealed envelope. Written neatly across the front were the words, "For Emma. When the time is right." Her hands trembled as she opened it. "Emma, if you found this, then I've waited too long to tell you the truth. 12 years ago, I promised I'd never keep secrets from you. But 2 years ago, I found my biological family after spending most of my life believing they were gone forever. Hayes was the surname I was born with before I was adopted. I legally reclaimed it because it was the only piece of my parents I had left." Emma continued reading through blurred eyes. "The woman in the photograph is my older sister, Sophie. She lives in Belgium. She's been battling terminal heart disease, and I've spent the last 2 years traveling there to help care for her and her children. She begged me not to tell anyone until they were ready because she wanted her children to enjoy what time they had left without questions or sympathy. Every conference I told you about was actually another visit to Belgium. Every lie I told was to keep the promise I made to my dying sister. Looking back, I realize I should have trusted you enough to carry this burden with me. I'm truly sorry." Tears rolled down Emma's face. At that exact moment, the front door opened. Oliver stepped inside carrying a wrapped anniversary gift. He stopped the instant he saw the letter in her hands. Neither of them spoke. The silence lasted only a few seconds, but it felt like a lifetime. Finally, Oliver whispered, "I wanted to tell you after our anniversary. I was just afraid you'd never forgive me for lying." Emma slowly walked towards him. "The passport didn't hurt me," she said quietly. "The lies did." Oliver lowered his head. "I'm sorry." Emma took his hand. "You should have trusted me with the truth." Oliver wrapped his arms around her, holding her tighter than ever before. Outside, the Manchester rain finally stopped, and for the first time in days, sunlight broke through the clouds. Emma realized something she would never forget. The darkest secrets don't always hide betrayal. Sometimes, they hide a promise made out of love. I'd never seen it before. Curiosity got the better of me. I unzipped it. Inside was a British passport. I smiled to myself. "Honestly, Oliver," I muttered. "You hide everything." But the smile disappeared the instant I opened it. The photograph was my husband. The date of birth matched perfectly. Everything was the same. Except his surname. Not Bennett. Hayes. I stared at the page, convinced my eyes were playing tricks on me. I checked again. Same man. Different name. A cold feeling settled in my chest. Maybe it was an old passport from before we married. That explanation lasted only a moment. The passport had been issued just 18 months earlier. Our wedding had been 12 years ago. None of it added up. Before I could think any further, I heard the front door unlock. Oliver was home. My heart started racing. I shoved the passport back into the pouch, slid it behind the blankets, and closed the wardrobe just as he walked upstairs. "There you are," he laughed. "I thought you'd disappeared." "I was looking for the charger." "Find it?" "Not yet. I'll help." For a split second, I thought he'd open the wardrobe himself. "No," I said a little too quickly. "It's fine." He paused. Then he smiled. "All right." It was the same smile I'd fallen in love with years ago. Warm, calm, completely normal. And somehow that frightened me more than if he'd looked guilty. That night sleep never came. Every time I closed my eyes I saw that passport. Why would my husband have another surname? The next morning, Oliver left early for what he called an engineering meeting in the city. The second his car disappeared around the corner, I went straight back upstairs. The pouch was exactly where I'd left it. This time I examined every page. There were immigration stamps from France, Belgium, and the Netherlands. The countries weren't what shocked me. The dates were. Both trips happened during weekends when Oliver had told me he was attending engineering conferences in Birmingham. I remembered those weekends perfectly. He'd called me every evening. He'd even sent selfies from what looked like a hotel room. So how had he crossed international borders without me knowing? As I turned another page, something slipped onto the bed. A cafe receipt. Bruges, Belgium. The date matched the exact Saturday Oliver had video called me from what he insisted was Birmingham. My hands began to shake. A different surname. Secret foreign trips. A hidden passport. None of this sounded like the man I'd married. Then my phone buzzed. A message from Oliver appeared on the screen. "Forgot to mention. Please don't go into the wardrobe today. I'm planning something special for our anniversary. Red heart." I froze. Slowly, I looked from the message back to the passport lying open beside me. It wasn't the text that terrified me. It was the timing. Because somehow, Oliver already knew I'd found his biggest secret.